Imagine you suddenly wake up in a quiet medieval French village back in the year 1400. You see the sun coming up, you hear the birds, and honestly, you're completely bored. But remember, you can't just open a cupboard right now and grab your favorite sugary cereal. If you want to eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner today, you have exactly one option: rye bread. So you sit down like any normal local farmer and take a massive bite out of a fresh loaf. You notice it tastes a little bit bitter, but hey, it's the Middle Ages. Everything tastes weird to you. You shrug, finish your breakfast, grab a wooden pitchfork, and head out to work the fields. About 20 minutes pass, and suddenly you start feeling incredibly, intensely hot. You look down at your hands and you panic. You swear your fingers are literally burning, but you don't see any smoke. There's no actual fire. You just feel agonizing heat. Then the sky starts changing colors right before your eyes. The clouds look like they're melting. You drop your pitchfork in shock because your quiet farm cow suddenly morphs into a giant purple creature. You sprint down the dirt road toward the village square, screaming at the top of your lungs. You want to find your neighbor to show him that the local animals are acting bizarre. But when you find him, he isn't listening. He is currently on his knees, crying. He yells at you that a million invisible bugs are crawling all over his skin, biting him. You look around the town square and you realize the entire situation is absolute unmitigated chaos. You see the blacksmith sprinting in circles, trying to escape things that only he can see. An elderly woman is aggressively dancing in a puddle of mud right in front of you, laughing hysterically. And you watch as half the village just lies on the ground, pointing at the sky and babbling nonsense. By midday, you notice the local village priest step outside the church to see the noise. He takes one look at you all dancing, screaming, and scratching, and makes a classic medieval guess. He thinks goblins, monsters, and dark forces have decided to throw a massive party right in your village. So, you watch him run back inside, grab a bucket of water, and charge back out into the square. Suddenly, he starts aggressively splashing water on you and everyone else, shouting out loud. When that doesn't work, he runs over to your local bakery and splashes water all over the flour sacks. Because to him, if a curse is hiding anywhere, it must be right inside your sourdough bread. Unsurprisingly, throwing water at your food doesn't fix a single thing for you. In fact, over the next few days, you notice your physical symptoms get significantly weirder. You and the other affected villagers start calling this bizarre condition St. Anthony's Fire. You find out it's named after the monks of St. Anthony, who run shelters to treat people just like you. See, the intense burning sensation you feel in your limbs isn't just a trick of your mind. The chemical you've been eating is actually tightening the blood vessels inside your arms and legs. If you keep eating this bad bread, your fingers and toes will completely lose circulation. Eventually, you'd watch your skin darken and shrivel up, causing permanent damage. Yeah, absolutely no modern emergency room could prepare you for a town square full of this. Since the water didn't stop the spread, you watch the town elders decide they need someone to blame. They march over, drag you out into the street, and accuse you of making bad magic. They put you on a makeshift trial right there in the dirt, demanding you reveal your secret. But since you are also completely dazed on your own bread, you just stare at them and giggle. Just as things are about to get real ugly for you, you notice a strange visitor arrive. A traveling medical practitioner rolls into your town with a cart full of bizarre tools. He tells your village elders to step aside because science has arrived to save your day. His expert medical solution for you? Leeches, thousands and thousands of leeches. He starts sticking them right to your face, arms, and legs to draw your bad blood out. Unbelievably, covering you in river worms doesn't stop you from seeing flying dragons either. Instead, you and the entire village decide to just stop eating entirely out of pure fear. And after a few weeks, you witness a miracle. Your madness completely vanishes. Your elders assume the evil spirits just got tired and left your town alone. So, you go right back to your normal life, completely unaware of what actually caused it. Let's fast forward a few hundred years so you can see what was actually happening. To solve this riddle, you have to look closely at a piece of grain under a microscope. You'll realize the real bad guy here wasn't a wizard, a spell, or a shadow monster. You are looking at a tiny parasitic fungus called Claviceps purpurea, better known as ergot. You can see how this mold absolutely loves rye, which was Europe's favorite crop. But you should know it only grows when the environmental conditions are absolutely perfect. Whenever you experience an incredibly wet, swampy, and rainy spring season, this purple fungus explodes in growth across your entire farming field. When harvest time comes, you might not even notice the weird purple color. You scoop up your infected grain and dump it straight into the milling machines. Your heavy stones grind the grain and the toxic fungus into one big pile of flour, and right inside that fungus sits a specific organic chemical called ergotamine. If that chemical compound sounds a little bit familiar to you, there's a huge reason why. Ergotamine is the precise primary base ingredient used to synthesize laboratory LSD. So, you see, those poor medieval villagers weren't under a magical spell at all. They had literally fed your entire town massive doses of a strong hallucinogen for breakfast. And you can find this happening repeatedly throughout historical records for hundreds of years. You read about entire military forces losing a battle because their bread supply was compromised. You watch them drop their shields, forget who they are fighting, and run from phantom shadows. But the most famous example you will find took place right across the ocean. Many modern researchers believe you can blame Ergot for the Salem witch trials in America. Imagine yourself in the year 1692 in a strict, highly religious colony in Massachusetts. That exact year, you see Salem experience a horribly wet, damp, and swampy growing season. It creates the ultimate playground for our little purple fungal friend to multiply. You see the colonists harvest their rye crops, store them away, and begin baking bread. Shortly after, you watch a group of young local girls start acting incredibly strange. They fall into violent physical fits, babble strange words, and scream in pain right in front of you. They also complain to you that their skin feels like it's being scorched by an open flame. Does that burning sound familiar to you? It's the exact same chemical reaction you saw earlier. But you know the strict Puritans in Salem didn't stop to think about moldy grain harvests. Instead, you watch them point fingers and yell that witchcraft has entered their colony. You witness a massive historical panic erupt, resulting in the trials of dozens of innocent neighbors. All because you see a small town eat bad bread and start hallucinating. The craziest part you'll notice, the next summer season turns out completely dry and hot. Without the constant damp moisture, you see that the purple ergot fungus can't grow at all. You look and see the new crop layers perfectly safe, clean, and entirely free of toxins. And just like magic, you watch the mysterious spells in Salem stop completely. The witches suddenly disappear for you, simply because the grain mold ran out of rain. It shows you how a tiny change in weather completely shifted human history forever.